My name is Kaustubh Soshikar. I am a first generation entrepreneur from Hubli and also a proud associate member of TIE. Today I am really eager to introduce to you a lady who is a superlative speaker who shall enthrall you on the subject of Trenovative. Yes, you heard me right, it's Trenovative. She has come up with an organization called Karma. Professor Nandini Vaidyanathan is a traveling teacher who teaches entrepreneurship in several Ivy League business schools all around the world. After 20 years in the corporate sector, working in multinational companies all over the world, she has started mentoring and entrepreneurship in India in the year 2005. She created Karma with a lofty ambition of building a vibrant entrepreneurship habitat so that it becomes easy for the people to become entrepreneurs. As on date, gentlemen, ladies, she has mentored more than 1,500 entrepreneurs all over. And she has been successfully mentoring especially women in countries like Afghanistan, South Africa and East Africa also. So ladies and gentlemen, let us sit back and enjoy the ride you are going to take now from Professor Nandini Vaidyanathan. I welcome her on behalf of all of you. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can I have the slides? Can you switch off these lights? Little more? Better? It's a paradox in India that when you're studying in a school or college, your parents, your teachers, and everybody around you will tell you, you can't be different. You can't be creative. And do what everybody else in the class is doing. Pretty much that's the story everybody tells you. And then you finish an engineering or a business degree and you go announce to the world that, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And everybody, the same people will tell you, now you have to be creative. After almost for 21 years successfully decimating your creativity, the same people will tell you, now you have to be creative because you're going to be an entrepreneur. To my mind, renovation is creativity that leads to innovation, which in turn leads to generating profit. It's no use if you say, I love painting, but I won't sell it, and I won't make money out of it. Necessarily, renovation is when your creative juices culminate in innovation, which in turn can be commercially deployed to generate profits for you. Is the fundamental clear? Everybody? Okay. That's me. I used to be managing director of a company called UTV. We were into animation. We were the largest studio in the APAC region in animation. We signed up a huge contract with Walt Disney. And as typical, as Walt Disney typically does, they sent a supervisor to the studio. We had a studio in Sakinaka, Mumbai. They sent a supervisor called James. The contract was negotiated in such a way that we were supposed to create a bank of episodes. This was a television serial, animated television serial. We were supposed to create a bank of, I think, about 17 or 18 episodes. And then we would go live. And when we went live, we would have to be on the roll. And the penalty clauses for not, doing the episodes on time were so humongous that, we would have had to practically shut down the studio. After about 3 weeks of, doing animation, I realized we had not FTP'd a single episode. And we were already behind schedule. So I sat my creative director down and I said, Sanjeev, why haven't we FTP'd anything? And he said, oh, ask James. bugger is not approving anything at all. So I called James and I said, walk me to the studio, show me where is it we are going wrong. He took me to the viewing room and he said, look at this crappy animation your guys have done. Their sense of timing is all wrong. Their sense of rhythm is atrocious. I am not going to approve. And I'm going to wait exactly a week before I write to my bosses that this is a crappy studio and you should pull this contract out of the studio. Now it is do or die for us. So I sit all of these guys down and I say, okay, how do we train you in rhythm and timing? Those of you in animation will know rhythm and timing is the foundation for any 2D animation. 3D you can still manage with Maya and the software and everything, but 2D animation, absolutely critical that you have to have good timing and a phenomenal sense of rhythm. So I sit down the team, we were about 800 people by then, and I said, guys, do you have an idea how do we improve our rhythm and our timing? And the answer was, hum training karte hain. Ha, idu nodana, adu nodana, try madana. And we had no luxury of trying anything at that stage. Just out of the box thinking, I was racking my brains and I said, what are the other areas, what are the other domains which depend on timing and rhythm? So two things came to my mind. Rhythm, percussionist, tabla. The entire model is built on rhythm. So I said, why not get somebody to teach us the tabla, rhythm connect? And can we migrate some of that into animation? The second, for timing. You're all from Karnataka, so you know what I'm talking about. Puppetry. Entire art of puppetry is built on timing. So we said, let's catch hold of some folk guys, guys involved in folk puppetry, and try and get them to do training for us. To cut a long story short, we did 10 weeks of training combined, both for timing and rhythm. We not only submitted on time, we won every possible award at the Cannes Animation Festival. When you are an entrepreneur, the only reason you are an entrepreneur is because you want to be able to create the differentiator. I keep saying this, we want to be entrepreneurs because we want to be immortal. We want people to remember us even though we never meet them. We want people to remember us when we die because we've touched their life in some way or the other. So how do I create as an entrepreneur that touch point? If I'm the prime mover, all the more reason I need to create that compelling differentiator. If there are plural players in the market before me, even bigger reason for me to create that differentiator, because otherwise why will my customer leave his service provider and come to me? How do I make him come to me? How do I make him attracted to me? Right? So what are the things I can do here? I'm going to walk you through some of the things. It's only storytelling, guys. The next 35, 40 minutes, I'm only going to tell you stories. I don't have any great fundas to give you. Each story has its own takeaway. Nimuk dharma karma idre, you can take that takeaway. Okay? I'm going to leave the responsibility with you. So the innovation could be, the crenovation could be simply in a concept. I don't know how many of you are car aficionados. Monday, April nalli in China, an unknown company called IAT launched this concept. Okay, it has gull wings. And mind you, the gull wings provide for what is it useful for? It's not just the design part of it. 0 to 100 seconds in less than 0 to 100 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers in less than 7 seconds. Sorry, brain out. 0 to 100 kilometers in less than 7 seconds. That's almost as good as Ferrari. How many of you have watched these shows? Do you know what Nigel Lithgow and Simon Cowell's hourly valuation is with these shows? Make a guess. These were concepts. 10 years ago when both these shows went on air, they were just concepts in both these guys' heads. Do you know what their valuation is? Individual. These are the guys behind the concept and the success. Do you know what their valuation is? Make a guess. Hourly valuation. Hourly valuation of both these gentlemen? $15 million. The renovation could be in your conviction. Now, James Bond and Takshana, what do you think of it? Who is James Bond for all of us? He's somebody who has arm candy women. He's somebody who loves his martini not stirred but shaken. He's somebody who loves gadgets. And he's somebody who will always vanquish the villain in the end, irrespective of the odds. Have you ever read or seen a James Bond movie story where he actually does not kill the villain, or he doesn't win? The makers of James Bond, both the author and the producers, were convinced that James Bond was this wow, successful guy. That's the conviction. So what kind of a conviction are we talking about here? I don't know how many of you read The Economist magazine. Economist has never advertised in a television or in a newspaper format, ever. What do? They only put up hoardings. Please go to the internet and check out their posters. Brilliant. Can you read what is here? If you find rubbish in The Economist, it is because there is an extremely interesting story about rubbish. Look, it almost borders on arrogance, right? That's the conviction these guys have. And the conviction goes to such an extent, when a reporter finds a story, he puts his byline, right? He puts his name, Shekhar Gupta, whatever, Arun Shourie, they put their names. No economist has ever accepted an individual's name. Logic, it is work of the editorial team. So there is a collective responsibility and sheer conviction, which kind of borderlines on arrogance. Renovation could be in your product. These are the products the women I mentor in Somalia, Afghanistan, Ethiopia have developed. Look at the first one. The strange part is Ethiopia is on the river Nile. We mentor 323 women who are absolutely illiterate. I can't even call them below the poverty line or any such jargon. They're absolutely illiterate. They've only sold their bodies all these years and they are drop-dead gorgeous. Challenge was, how do we get them to be economically productive in ways other than selling their body, right? So some of these ideas they came up with when, after a very difficult process of mentoring. So most countries most cities in Ethiopia do not have water. Very heavy duty water shortage. I live in this seedy hotel called Sheraton in Addis. And there is a board in my bathroom that says, shower lasts only for 80 seconds. So if you've got still shampoo on your head, God save you. That's the level of water shortage here, okay? So most people who go to Addis, either at the airport or at the bus stand or at the railway station, pick up packets of water, because it's very hard even to come by drinking water. And if your job entails that you're out in the field, you also need water because it's so bloody hot. You need water to keep splashing your face. So we use this NASA parachute material, okay? And if you notice, there is a little nozzle at the bottom. All you have to do is open the nozzle, hang it on a tree, and you can put your face. And oh, believe you me, in that heat, it's absolute heaven. Okay, simple innovation. We charge $5 on eBay for it. Our cost is a few cents. The women thought of it, and the point I'm trying to make is, to be innovative, you don't need to have an MBA degree, or you don't need to have worked in Silicon Valley, or any of those things. Like Harish said, it's being innovative is about a mindset. Look at the second one. How many of us, even now I'm sure, you picked up a cookie in one hand, you had your mobile in the other, and yet you had to balance your teacup in the other hand, right? Suppose you had a product like this. This was developed for us in Somalia by NID. We gave them the idea. The prototype was developed by NID. Absolutely brilliant, simple, and so simply convenient. Look at the third one, and the women here will relate to what I am saying. When you're polishing your fingernail, the typical thing a girl does is she will keep the bottle next to her. She will dip the brush into the bottle, and she will paint her nails, and she is doing oof to it to dry it. So without seeing the bottle, she's going to dip the brush again into the bottle. And 9 times out of 10, she will tip it. Here is a simple ring-like contraption made of corn. We sell it for $1.50. All it does is you slip it on your mid finger, shove the little bottle there, and you can paint away all you want. Again, simple innovation, brilliant concept, and of course, the women have gone laughing to the bank. It could be in your product's extremely thoughtful features. Look at these three products. These are developed by our Afghan women, 2,800 of them, again absolutely below the poverty line. These are all products that are there out on eBay. All of them were developed by Srishti School of Design, Bangalore. We gave them the idea, the protos were developed by Srishti School of Design. Look at the first one. All of us have corners in our houses. We can't do anything with the corners, right? Here is a photo frame that has a little hinge at the back. So you can neatly wrap it around your corner. Your corner looks beautiful, and here is a product that sells extremely well. The next one, normally those of you who eat pizza, make pizza at home will know what I'm talking about. Typically after you make the pizza, you use a slicer to slice it, and then you use a scalpel to pick it off the tawa. Here is a two-in-one, extremely convenient. The pizza, even when cheese is bubbling over it, does not topple because the scalpel cum slicer is extremely stable. The last one, of course, is my favorite. If you have walked with your girlfriend, I'm talking to the guys now, if you walked with your girlfriend in rain, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you are holding the umbrella, the girl gets wet because you're tall and you will hold it up. If the girl is holding the umbrella, you will have to walk like this. So here is a product whose surface area can be adjusted. You can walk as close or as far as you choose. And it's a two-in-one. And when you fold it, it's as big as this. Hugely successful product on eBay, and sometimes it amazes me when the women first came up with these ideas. In my urbanness, I was almost dismissive, saying to the extent, no, I don't think people will buy. But we developed it, we put it out on the market, and everybody loves it. It could be in sheer outrageousness. Crenovation could be in absolutely being outrageous. Let us look at one good example. How many of you have diesel jeans? How many of you have seen diesel jean campaign? Jeans is an overcrowded market, right? Absolutely overcrowded. And diesel jeans is the most expensive in the market. What can they say as value proposition to the customer other than saying the same jeans in Levi's will cost you $3,500, in diesel will cost you $12,500? Other than the price point, what can they say to make them, to justify that kind of pricing? Absolutely nothing. So what did they resort to? The ad agency said, let's go outrageous. Let's celebrate stupid people. Because everybody celebrates smart people, let us celebrate stupid people and say, those who buy diesel jeans are absolutely stupid. Why? Because smart people have brains and stupid people have balls. It could be this, your crenovation could be in this brilliant customer connect that you have. Your customer loves you so much that even if there are 10 players in the market after you, your customer won't go to anybody, will keep on staying with you. Look at this example. What is the product I'm talking about? I don't know, maybe you can't see the product very clearly. This represents which brand? Look at the picture. There is the picture of an older person. There is the picture of a younger person, hand in hand. And there are toys, and there are a couple of cockroaches. So what do you think the picture represents?
Chocolate.
Chocolate? Why? You're cockroach and chocolate? What happened?
Because even real.
No, I would never buy that chocolate.
Some NGOs.
NGO? What is the connection with an NGO? Brand keltidinappa. What is the brand? You all use it. Tell me at least what is the application, even if you can't recollect the... Huh?
Wash.
Absolutely. Wash, why are you saying that?
All these things we would get dirty and you can wash it in the form of hand.
Absolutely brilliant. Give him a big hand, guys. Absolutely brilliant. What is the biggest worry that a parent has when her child, when a mother has, not so much parent, but when a mother has, when her child goes out to play? Kai ellel hakond vapas barutto. God knows, you know, what all rubbish my baby is going to touch and come back home. So what do you think is the product? Dettol, absolutely. Look at the huge connect with the customer. See, end of the day, all marketing, all advertising is about manipulating emotions. That's all it is. I mean, whatever words you use, right? It's all about connecting on an emotional level. Look at the connect here. Dettol is appealing to the mother saying, I know your pain point. I know how much you worry about your baby, but here is a product, so don't worry anymore. There is that sense of protection. Okay, why does it work sometimes? Renovation could simply be in your ability to listen to your customer. The two, both are almost gone. Fuji, of course, has reinvented itself a bit. Kodak has already filed for bankruptcy. But when Kodak and Fuji were big guys in the photography film space, there used to be a third guy called Sakura. Sakura made a very brief entrance into India, I think almost 2 decades ago. I was a kid that time, I remember reading about Sakura. Unfortunately, Sakura was an extremely distant number 3. Extreme. Why? One problem was Sakura in Japanese means cherry blossoms. But in a slang format, it also means pinkish blur. Now, if you're using a film for taking pictures, you can't have the brand name saying pinkish blur, right? So what could Sakura do? How could they better their business? Like all Japanese companies, they said, let us go to Kodak and Fuji's customers and ask them, are they happy with the existing product? And every customer said, brilliant. Kodak is brilliant, Fuji is brilliant, we don't have a problem. Everybody kept saying, it's a brilliant product, we don't have an issue. But somebody said, you know what, when we go on a weekend vacation, we are there only for a couple of days, let's say we shoot some pictures, we never manage to complete 36 exposures on the film. By the time we come back home on Monday, children are, jumping, saying, give it for printing, give it for developing, let me have a look at the picture. So almost 16 exposures go waste for us. Sakura heard it, went back to the drawing board, created a film with 20 exposures. What did Fuji and Kodak do? Now they had 2 options, right? They could drop the price, obviously the price was low, Sakura's price was low. They could drop the prices, or they could also bring a product with 20 exposures. Both of them chose to give 36 exposures at the same price as Sakura, which was a much more discounted price. It could be in price. This is a simple. How many of you here from Delhi? Anybody here from Delhi? Where MacD entered India through Delhi. Do you know where was the first outlet?
TP.
No, not CP. No, oh, no. No. CP is the same as Connaught Place. No.
Noida.
Now we are going through the map, is it? It was in a place called Basant Lok Complex, Basant Vihar. That was the first outlet. And the day MacD opened, the burger was priced at $12. This is almost, 12 years ago? It was priced at $12. Why do you think they priced it at 12? What was the reason? No, but Delhi yellappa vada pav ide. You get all your cultural elements mixed up, is it? Where is vada pav in Delhi? In other words, market research told them that an average Delhiite spends $12 on chaat. How do I make the same Delhiite spend the same $12 but not on chaat, but get hooked onto a burger? The whole process of marketing always is about getting your customer addicted to you. How do I make him hooked on to me so he will never ever leave me? And these were their insights. It could be in delivery, and I find these examples really interesting. Tupperware, all of you know. The MLM model is quite revolutionary in the delivery model. The other two I find extremely interesting. Kurkure's market research, just when they launched, told them that Indians love to snack, munch something when we are working on our PCs. Those days it was not laptops or tablets, it was PCs. So the market research said, we love to munch on things when we are working on our PCs. So you know what Kurkure did? What was logical? What?
Instant food. Instant.
Huh?
Instant.
No. Look at the heading, it is delivery. So every cyber cafe had a Kurkure kiosk. And sales, I'm told, trebled 3 times. Just one little insight on the customer. Harish mentioned COD, cash on delivery. Fashion and You was the first company in India which introduced cash on delivery. I'm not going into the reasons of what cash on delivery does to you. I'm sure all of you are shoppers online and you know it. The big problem with cash on delivery, however, was that most online purchases are impulsive and I have not paid anyway for it. So by the time the delivery happens, I've changed my mind. Sanity has prevailed. By that time, I'm saying, no, I don't think I'm going to spend 2,000 bucks on this shoe. So you don't take delivery. Inventory pile-up was the biggest problem for all online portals. So what did they do? Could they discontinue COD? They couldn't. They struggled with it for almost, I think, 4 to 5 years. Till one ingenious entrepreneur came up with a brilliant idea. He said, now you've placed an order online. Before the delivery happens, my company will come to your doorstep and take your money first. Only after I have collected your money will the company deliver your product. Please check them out. It's a lovely company called Gharpay.in, Gharpay.in. The fact that it's a brilliant idea is validated by the fact that in less than 2 years, they operate out of 26 cities. Very temperamental. It could be, you could be innovative simply in your brand positioning. And I'm going to take a very interesting example. Look at the packaging here. The one on top is your typical Axe packaging, right? Typical, all of us. There is yet another packaging. What does this remind you of? The one down. Easy to hold. And I'll give you a hint. This was meant specifically for your macho biking dude. Somebody who has a Harley Davidson, who's got a lot of tattoos on arms and legs, who's got a lot of metal on him. It was typically meant for the biker dude. So why this packaging?
Shape of the body.
What does the shape of the bottle indicate? I don't know. Somebody told me in one previous session, somebody said, indicates curves of girls. No, it doesn't.
Six-pack.
What else could it be? A bottle, correct, but what about the bottle? What does it remind you of? Not bike handle grip. No, he already said that the answer is good. It's biking oil. It looks like you're biking oil. Castrol came up with the biking oil, exactly the same kind of packaging. So even right down to this last detail, the brand kept the customer in mind. So if you put this product out there, that the other people will buy, but this macho biker dude will only go for this kind of an Axe bottle. It could be in communication. Your innovation could be in communication. Pepsi is the best example of what I'm talking about. Pepsi and Coke, as you know, were always at war. When Roger Enrico took over Pepsi, he said, I think we fight a losing battle with Coke because we fight on their turf. What Coke does, we also do. Our hinde hogtivi. Or ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. They drop prices, we drop price. Whatever they do, we keep repeating them. So can I do something differently? And the communication, the tagline was, in India also we have seen Youngistan, if you remember. The tagline now was, Pepsi, the choice of a younger generation. What can a simple tagline do to my business? Just look at it. Now, I'm 54 years old. I don't want to be seen with Coke in my hand because people will say, "Arey, fadi daddy, buddhi ho gayi hai." I want to be seen with Pepsi in my hand because I want to be cool. I want to be part of that cool community. Just one simple tagline and one simple renovation, and it actually changed not only Pepsi's fortunes, it changed the way Pepsi positioned itself across the world. I think that was seriously brilliant. Renovation could be like in all things in life, in absolute simplicity. Let's look at an example. This was something developed in Afghanistan by our mentees. This was before the age of the selfies. How many of us have struggled to take pictures when you don't have somebody else to take a picture for you? Even with our own selfie approach is hard because if you take it at a wrong angle, your double chin shows. Right? So how do I take a selfie where I look beautiful? And here we developed this contraption. Very simple. We charge $10 for it. Nobody minds it. Okay, and has done wonders for the people who love taking pictures of themselves. It could be a brilliant marketing strategy. What is the example? Bingo. Can anybody tell me what was different when Bingo launched? Shape was one. Ads, they were all very peculiar. You laughed at them. But did it make you remember? Did it make you buy?
Placement of products. Placement of your products.
Quantity was more than Lay's? Or in each packet? Yeah, maybe to some. How do I induce you to try it?
It was like kept near Lay's only so that people can see it similar.
It was big.
This is thoda shanagiri dikha raha hai. How? How visibility? How? You're absolutely right, but I think there is something more to it.
Brand recall.
No. They launched in one shot 12 flavors. If you have seen Lay's, they all launched one by one. Salted came first, Spanish tomato came next, cheese and onion came third. One by one they launched, right? Here was ITC, which was never ever in the snack segment, launching Bingo in one shot 12 flavors. What was the logic? One, of course, is they have deep pockets. But what was the logic? Even in a corner shop, even in a small store, even if they keep one each of everything, there is still 12 of them. And sheer shelf visibility. In a supermarket, if they keep, all snacks usually are impulse purchases, right? I'm walking the aisle and I see something new, I will look at it, aage piche, and I might want to buy it. Now, if there are 12 from the same brand, will I try or won't I try? Chances are you will pick up. You obviously won't pick up all 12. You will pick up one and say, okay, try karke dekhte hain. And then the brand promise kicked in. Everybody loved Bingo, and of course, they became successful. It could be in simple packaging. I don't know how many of you have eaten this or whether it's available in Hubli. It is available in Bangalore, I know. A small company called Amy's Kitchen. Again, emotional connect. In Italy, when mother or grandmother makes sauce, she bottles it and she ties a nice little golden ribbon around it and gifts it to the grandchild. It is to say grandmother has made this full of love for you and she's gifting it to you. She did exactly that. If you walk, in any of the supermarkets you will see, all sauces are on one shelf. How do you know which sauce is better? How do you know which one you should pick up? There's nothing to induce you because they all look alike. Bottling is the same, everything pretty much looks the same. Whereas something like this, even on a crowded shelf, makes you pause and say, oh, this is different. Chalo, try karke dekhte. All right. Don't know how many of you have seen a site called that'spersonal.com. Anybody has seen? You should. It's a wonderful entrepreneurial venture. It sells all things bedroom. You have sex oils, you have condoms, you have nightwear, you have lingerie, hugely innovative. For instance, they have something called eating lingerie. They have bra and panties which are made from edible materials. So at the height of your passion, you can actually end up your girlfriend's bra and panty. Hugely successful. What I'm talking about is not the innovation in their product. What appeals to me is their cultural sensitivity. So whilst all other e-commerce portals thrive on doorstep delivery, here is a company that says, we will give you the option of self-pickup. Why? I have planned a nice passionate weekend with my boyfriend. I definitely don't want it arriving at home, my father picking it up and asking, what the hell are you doing? That cultural sensitivity, to my mind, is big ticket item in Kranovation. Probably in the West it wouldn't matter so much, but in India, and in India we don't respect privacy, right? I don't think your dad says, "Nan magal hesunal letter, they let me not open it." All the more we will open it and see what the hell is in it, right? Company took great pains to address this cultural thing, and I love them for that fact because I haven't seen any other portal, even in the same space. One of my mentees is a company called Straps and Strings. They don't do that either. Okay, but here is this company which was sensitive. Why do you have to be innovative? All this lecture for the last 35, 40 minutes I have given you. Why? Why does an entrepreneur have to be innovative? Why can't he simply say, I have this idea in my head, I know there are customers out there and they will buy. The unfortunate problem is most entrepreneurs assume that I have this brilliant idea and line lag jayega bahar to buy my product. Unless you're in the life drug saving space, line bilkul nahi lagegi. You have to sell it. And once you sell it, once you've acquired your customer, the biggest challenge for you is how can I keep him seduced, keep her seduced, so she will never ever think of going to anybody else. When I was growing up, people said, give the customer what he wants. That is enough. Then there came a time with Kotler, people said, it's not enough to give the customer what he wants, you have to give him more than what he wants. Now is the time when we are saying, it's not enough to give the customer more than what he wants, we have to give the customer what he never even knew he wanted. That is seduction, right? That's what Facebook did to all of us. Am I right? We didn't ever think we would live our lives so voyeuristically. Did you ever think that? Ask people of my generation. We'd be horrified at the sheer prospect of it. And here I am, day in and day out, telling mentees they should have a formidable, robust digital presence. Right? This is the reason why it's important for every one of you here to be credible. Questions? Sorry, I hope I didn't take too long. Ask directly, please. Somebody can pass the mics around. Ask directly.
I have a couple of questions here.
No, one question only. If you have yet another question, we'll take it offline.
Already people have submitted questions.
Okay, all right.
There's a question here. How do I price my renovation?
Most of us assume that innovation per se is one dhamakedar Hiroshima Nagasaki item. It isn't. Most of what we do is incremental innovation, which really doesn't cost an arm and a leg. All it costs is a little brain power. Right? It doesn't cost, in terms of money, none of it costs. Rarely, I mean, unless it is some game-changing product, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Just the way you fund, and let me answer this in a little different way. When you are developing your product, when you are developing your monetization model, when you are developing your customer discovery, Very important that you do in phases. Phase 1, version 1.0, these are the features of the product I will go to the market with, and this is my customer segment. Version 2.0, maybe 18 months down the road, these are the enriched features and I will take it to market, but this time not just to this market, but I have expanded my market. In other words, even as you are ideating on your first skeletal product, it's very important that you start planning a very, very robust innovation pipeline. It's not enough to say, I've gone to market for 18 months, Inmel Nodtini. Now let me go back to the drawing board and say, what else can I take to the market? By which time 10 other players would have come in and swept the market. So very important you have a product development stroke renovation pipeline for the first 5 years. I know it's not very easy, but we've mentored more than 1,500 entrepreneurs. I can tell you this with authority, that it's not very hard. Sure. Ask them, can I take one more, can I take two more, or can we stop? It's not determined by me.
I have a question already here.
Okay.
So how do I apply Renovative to my service offerings? That's the question.
I don't know why we are even to this day differentiating between a product and a service. Let me ask you this. Why do you go to Cafe Coffee Day? Why do all of you go to Cafe Coffee Day?
Good cafe and good habits.
Right.
Spend time.
Do you know coffee is what they sell the least? Although it is Cafe Coffee Day, coffee is what they sell the least. In other words, you go in because of something called experience. Today the focus should be what is a new science called XPD. Experience design. It doesn't matter whether you have a product or a service. What you need to focus on is, can I design a compelling customer experience? Why? Because I want to seduce the customer. Why? Not once, not twice, forever and ever and ever. So XPD, compelling customer design. So focus on designing the customer experience. Don't worry about, am I in the product space, am I in the services space? End of the day, it doesn't matter. Do you have a customer who loves you? That's it.
Thank you so much. I thank Professor
Thank you.
I request B-Time member Srimati Sadhna Rao to hand over a gratitude. Request Priyanka to